All right, so I've been really wanting to do this for a long time now, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get into it. I want to start a channel that actually gets into how to actually start like entrepreneurship for yourself, and mainly for Black empowerment. You know, um, we all talk about the subjects, online and things like that, and what needs to be done, but few people talk about what's going on specifically, and I believe it's because the people that are able to or most qualified to talk about it, if they were to get online, if you had Byron Allen or P Diddy or somebody really start getting online and trying to get into this topic and really teach Black people how to do it, then they would get shut down. You know what I'm saying? So many other people, they don't think that they're qualified to start really trying to talk about it specifically. Everybody talks about it talking about how we should do it, but specifically, let's start analyzing these markets. Let's start really breaking out these textbooks and getting into it. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I don't right now, like, I don't own like any businesses. I'm not the most qualified person to do it, but it's like one of those things where I don't feel is going to be a qualified person uh, to do this because they would just get taken down. So it might as well be just an average person who is trying to learn. And I do this anyway. Like, I'm always trying to learn about business. So um, yeah, we're gonna really jump into it. Another thing that kind of got me was just the other day I was at the well, not at the library. I was at Barnes and Noble, and I'm sitting down. I'm reading a book, and another Black guy sat down kind of across from me, and he looked like he was around my age, maybe like a year or two younger, maybe a few years younger, but he was definitely not a very old person at all. Like, he's in his 20s, and so he's sitting down, and I end up getting up and start putting my book back, and he's like talking to somebody, and he's like, you know, why did I call you? Why did I call you? It's because I got cancer. Like, and he kept saying that. He was saying that to this. I think he was talking to his mom, and they kind of were going back and forth because I guess they weren't on speaking terms or something like that. So I wasn't trying to overhear his conversation, so I leave and go to a different side of the library. I'm reading like manga and things like that, and he walks by again, and he was going into it like, I get nosebleeds and I'm throwing up every day, and he just going into detail about his condition, and I'm like, there's a lot of Black people who are like suffering out here. You know what I'm saying? And he's odds are he's probably calling his mom because he needs money for treatment. So I'm just thinking, like, I got to get into the fight. I got to get into the fight against white supremacy just because of stuff like this. This is happening way like too often. A lot of us are just struggling out here. So it's just kind of like I can't sit back anymore. That's the reason why I started it today. Um, so like I said, I'm going to go in depth on the topic. I'm going to start bringing up and searching from different regions. Hopefully, I'm going to move into even different countries as far as like analyzing their markets um, and things like that. So for right now, I here's a couple of ideas that I've been playing with. Like, I think the best way to start a business is to start locally. Like, a lot of people want to, like, they want to get online and do things like that, which is good, of course, as well. But I think the best starting place is just to look around what's going on around you locally, and, like, for example, seeing what the number one export, the number one industries in your area are, and start attaching yourself to that or finding ways to get into that. Like, where I'm at, I know that one of the big industries is almonds, like selling almonds, and that's something that I would never have thought of on my own. Like, I would never think about farming or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not my style. Like I'm just like every other black person. Like I want to be doing something glamorous, you know. But just in general, those are the type of things that work, and that's something that people could get into. Like if you just had land, how hard is it to plant a tree? You know. Now I'm not saying it's overly simple. Like you would have to read a few books, but just in general, those are the type of things that we're going to discuss here. Where I think my whole strategy behind business is having a whole bunch of businesses, right, that correspond with each other, that are related, but then being as creative as possible, where you're using whatever you have, you know, you're using the resources that are in your area, and like, so I live in Georgia, uh, and that's where the almond thing is popping off, and that's low barrier to entry. Is really just specifically if you have land. You know, all you have to do is get land, and within the next 10 years or so, you can have a business popping off, and that would. Another thing that's good about that is like they have like you can freeze almonds, and you can do a lot of crazy things I didn't think that you could do. So even if you weren't able to sell all of yours right off the bat, like you could actually still sell them online. You could do all types of things with them, you know. And I believe we should be open minded about all those things. So what I'm saying is you want to use agriculture as well. A lot of people, it's not glamorous, but it's something that has a low barrier to entry that a lot of people can do. Like a lot of people can contribute to that because you can sell locally and you can sell overseas. You can sell to different parts of the country if you're able to preserve it like with a natural way that's healthy. Um, that's something you should definitely get into. Like just get online and see what cash crop is in your area, and that it might not be the start point or the way that it should always happen for everyone, but at this point it's kind of like it could be a part of your plan on top of what you're already doing. Like that's just something like once I do get the money to get some land, boom, I already know I'm going to add this. You know, that's just part of the game plan. Most people want to be in Georgia, want to be into the entertainment industry, right? So most black people, we want to be in like we want to be rappers and things like that, just straight music or in front of the cameras. But again, the entertainment industry is like it's like the second biggest industry in the state, and it's the third biggest. The entertainment industry in Atlanta is like the third biggest in the country. So there's a lot of jobs that are connected to it, and of course, like it's very simple to just buy a couple of books. Like there's a whole section of just books. Like when I was at Barnes and Noble the other day, a whole bunch of things you can learn, like photography, how to work Photoshop, and all these different things, all these little skills that you could pick up that most people don't even think about. You got lindaclub.com that can get you some skills and things like that. But that's another part of like the strategy that I'm on. It's like you're learning everything because like in the system of white supremacy, you want to learn everything just in general, just because you want to eventually be smarter than the people who have captured you, right? So you're learning everything anyway. You're going to learn about programming. You're going to learn about um, editing, photography, science, chemistry, um, just everything, right? So what you do is you just, as you go offering those services, and I think that would be like a start for anyone, you know. So those are the type of things that I'm gonna talk about, but I'm gonna actually have like go into like in depth and actually go and have websites and things that I'm actually searching to show, because I want to go through each state where black people live and actually start trying to get into those industries that are the most popping, the biggest, and just separate it out and break it all the way down and to basically like where everybody can completely understand what's going on in their state. Um, and just more. I'm planning on this is going to be like a 20-year project, basically. 20 years, I'm looking 20 years from now, you know what I'm saying? Like right now I might be not at the level that I want to be, but imagine if we get this conversation going and what are we going to be talking about 20 years from now? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a very